Good morning, everyone. Hope your fourth marking period has started off awesome. You guys are doing a fantastic job getting your work in for me. Keep up the good work. I will give you a heads up that tomorrow will be a shorter lesson so that you guys can have the opportunity to finish up anything that you owe me from this week. Um, make sure that you are getting your work done. I've started making comments on a bunch of those things. You guys can see those. Um, but overall, you guys are doing a good job. So keep up the good work. All right. So today's lesson is going to be on Mayan mythology and religion. So let me share my screen and we will get it going. All right. So without further ado, we'll let this load. And here we go. All right, so Mayan mythology and religion. So the first thing we should probably talk about is let's review what is mythology. Mythology is a collection of myths, especially one belonging to a particular religious or cultural tradition. We've talked about mythology both in Greece and Rome this year, and one of the big things was that the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans used mythology to help explain natural occurrences. Well, the Mayans did the exact same thing. So you could see that a lot of the gods that I'll mention today will have some sort of natural ability. Um, so let's move forward. Let's do a little bit of review here. What is the belief in one God? I'll give you 5 seconds or so to think about it. The belief in one God. Remember, right? One glass. Like if you had like if you had glasses but you only had one lens, it's a monocle. Well, this is monotheism. We've talked about that a few times. All right. And what is the belief in many gods? I'll give you a second to think about that for a second. And the belief in many gods is polytheism. Well, the Mayans were polytheistic. They believed in many gods. So, I'll go through some of the major ones, and then I'll just briefly mention a few of the other ones before I give you your assignment for today. So let's move forward. All right. So, once again, the Mayans believed in a large number of nature gods. Some gods were considered more important and more powerful than others. We've seen this in other ancient civilizations. They really use the belief in these gods to really explain natural occurrences. All right, so this one that I have up here is Itzamna. Itzamna is probably the most important Mayan god. Itzama was the god of fire who created the earth. He was the ruler of the heaven as well as day and night. The Maya believed that he gave them the calendar and writing, and is thought that his name means lizard house, which is kind of interesting. All right, the next one that we will talk about is the god Kukulkan. Kukulkan was a powerful snake god whose name means feathered serpent. He was primarily the god of the Itzin people in the latter part of the Mayan civilization. He is often drawn to look like a dragon. If you look, I specifically put on here a pyramid, a famous pyramid. If you look at the like ramp that is going up the pyramid, and you look at the way that the shadow is cast, the shadow is meant to look like a serpent. It was a structural design that the Mayans who created this pyramid did to kind of pay homage to the serpent god. So you can kind of see it in the way that it kind of like goes up and down like a serpent, and then on the bottom it looks a little bit like a mouth. It's kind of cool. All right, moving forward. All right, the next one is Bolin Tazaskab. All right, so Bolin Tazkab, also known as Huracan, similar to our name for hurricane, is the god of storms and wind and fire. Mayan mythology said that he caused the great flood to come when the Mayans angered the gods. Um, so, as you could see, once again, like other civilizations, a lot of the Mayan gods were meant to describe natural occurrences. All right. The next one is Shock. So Shock was the god of rain and lightning. He had a lightning axe, and that was used to strike the clouds and produce rain and storms. Um, we definitely know in ancient Greece and Rome, there were gods that used lightning. Probably most famously Zeus. Um, so you could see that there's a little bit of similarities, which once again is crazy because they're on opposite sides of the world. All right, so here's what I've done. You're gonna use this in a second. You can always go back to it. You guys know that I typically put the PowerPoint or the slideshow with it, but you'll use this. These are just some of the gods that were also there. There's Apuk, god of death. Shock, god of rain and thunder. We talked about that. Kamazats, the bat god, tries to kill the hero twins in a story that I might show you in a little bit if we have a couple, if we have time before we do the Aztecs. The Gugamats, which is a snake god and creator. Huracan, who we talked about. Ixbalanca, one of the Maya hero twins, which is also going to be in that story that I told you that we might check out if we have time. Ixchel, which is the earth and moon goddess, and Zapanka, which is the underworld demon. These here are just a couple of gods that are famous in the Mayan culture. All right, I think now is a good time to like reiterate how important priests actually were. We talked a little bit about it, but they really were super, super important when it came to the Mayans. The priests were responsible for performing rituals to keep the people in the favor of the gods. Some of their duties, like when I said that, yesterday, the day before, that a lot of they did a lot of religious ceremonies and stuff. This is more of like what exactly did they do? So they impersonated the gods in a way to pay homage to, not to make fun of. They tried to predict the future, to work miracles, to build tables of eclipses, to avert famine, drought, plagues, and earthquakes, to ensure adequate rainfall. So they would, have these sacrifices to kind of um, please the gods, in that they would, in return, give them a good growing season, because we know that the Mayans were definitely, they relied heavily on farming and stuff like that. So I just wanted to give you like a brief, like, all right, here's what the priests kind of like, they did a little bit more of, instead of, we said a lot about religious ceremonies, but this is just a little bit more. All right, your assignment for today is, on this slide, you're going to research two of the gods that I listed above, and you are going to give me two facts for each and a symbol for that god. Pictures can be really hard to find, so a symbol is fine. So, like, if I give you an example, we have Zeus as the Greek god that we've studied. Um, a symbol for Zeus could be lightning. So when I say a symbol, it could be something like that. Um, all right. Have a good day.